Hello everyone, it's time for week 3 of this Pokemon Metronome League. I'm your commentator Biscuit, and we're actually starting with Bats versus Biscuit. So let's go. Keep in mind, none of these two have lost a single battle yet, but one will lose one today. Metagross starts with Trop Kick. Wobbuffet loses some attack. Sleep Powder doesn't hit the Metagross, called Disrespectful, which I suppose makes sense. Dire Claw doesn't do anything. I have no clue what that move does, to be honest. Water Pledge does a bit of damage, and Wing Attack does 1%. That's very helpful. And Metagross leaves with teleports. Vine Whip on the Dragonite, which doesn't do anything. Flatter, but Magic Bounce hits it back to L the Dragonite. Outrage, that doesn't do a lot because it's a Wobbuffet, but it is super effective. Dragonite hits himself in Confusion, and Outrage keeps going, and Wobbuffet gets confused itself. Confusion already ends for Dragonite when Good Boy gets switched in. The Dockspun uses Oxo Tail, and L responds back with Dual Wing Beat, which is a fairly large amount. Brutal Swing does a bit, not a whole lot. Fling, which means that L loses the Lepa Berry, which isn't good because the Lepa Berry is really important. Struggling is something you don't want to do. Rock Smash does a little bit. Shift Gear, so it's faster and does more damage, but Good Boy's at really low health. Tickle weakens the Dragonite a bit, but it is charged, so now electric moves will do a lot more damage. Aura Sphere does nothing because it's a flying type. Bite does a bit, but biting a dog is not very nice. You bit a bred dog, that's not very nice, I think. Hypnosis misses. Iron Head kills the Dragonite, and Sableye 2, the Meowstic, comes in and destroys Good Boy, the doggy, the Dockspun. Rain Dance from Sableye 2 and Baby Doll Eyes, so water moves do a lot more damage and fire moves do not. 3% on the Wobbuffet, which isn't a lot. Barb Barrage does a bit. Aqua Jet doesn't do a whole lot despite being in the rain. Explosion! Wobbuffet is down, but does a solid chunk to Sableye 2. Tinkaton, named Frick Corviknight, I'll try not to swear here. Haze, so all those stat changes are gone. Pain Split, Sableye 2 heals itself and hurts Fuck Corviknight. And Fuck Corviknight uses Corviknight. It's not worth. Okay. Electro Web on Sableye 2, which does a bit of damage, and meanwhile it uses Fly. Horn Drill misses, although I doubt that would have hit anyway. Burning Jealousy does a bit, and Fly does a bit of damage. Cotton Spore, so now Frick Corviknight is really slow. Roar, so goodbye again. Disrespectful comes back. Reveal. Tinkaton uses Horn Bleach, which doesn't do a whole lot and heals a little bit. Spikes, which will definitely be helpful for bats. Hone Claws, that makes Disrespectful stronger and he can hit moves more often. Friendly Pant doesn't do much, and it forces Fuck Corviknight to recharge. And Cut on Fuck Corviknight does a bit, but not too much. Tearful Look, so special attack won't do as much. Nuzzle's not a special attack, and it does get the full paralyze. Horn Drill again, but misses again. I mean, it is only a 30% accurate move. And now it's a water type, which, not very good. And Misty Explosion, Disrespectful, also KOs itself. Now it's just down to the two Psychic Cat weird things. Simple Beam onto the Fuck Corviknight and Confide. Giga Drain kills Fuck Corviknight. And now I don't have to say that anymore for the rest of this battle. Psyshock on Yeet the Child, which does quite a lot. Parting Shot, but Yeet the Child can't leave because the remaining members are dead. Payback doesn't do a whole lot. Charm does a bit. Sableye 2 has literally no attacking stats and decides to switch out to Mid the Indeedee. Infestation, so Mid can't leave. So what will Yeet the Child do next? Stomp, which does a fair chunk. Stone Edge also does a bit. It's a 1v2, so Yeet the Child is in a situation. But Milk Drink does heal up, which does help Yeet the Child quite a bit. Dragapult Pseudo Legendary, obviously really powerful, especially with that work-up. Low Kick doesn't hurt the Ghost type. And Petal Blizzard, and there goes Mid. So it's a 1v1 between Yeet the Child and Sableye 2. Shadow Sneak does a bit, and Yeet the Child goes for Metal Burst, also doing quite a chunk. Astonish, Sableye 2 using a lot of ghost moves, which is probably the best move here. But Bug Buzz KOs, and Biscuit wins the first battle. Alright, it's time for round 2 of Bats versus Biscuit. So we're gonna look at Bats' perspective this time, so let's see how it goes. Both send out the same Pokemon. Toxic on Wobbuffet, but it goes back, but thankfully Metagross is immune to Toxic. Psychic Terrain by the Wobbuffet. Astonish does quite a bit. And Zap Cannon does quite a lot. Well, not a lot, but it does get the Paralyze. Acupressure, so that means Wobbuffet will hit harder, especially. And Magic Bounce, but hits me. Okay. Dragapult lost its Leopard Berry. Okay. Discharge is a bit. And Strength does not a lot at all. Bug Bite, so that means Wobbuffet also loses its Leopard Berry. Spark does not a lot. Dragonite, surprisingly. Oh, but Strength Sap, that'll heal Wobbuffet a lot. And Circle Throw, meaning L is out of the battle, and in comes Sableye 2. Hone Claws, so that'll help a bit. Payback, that helps quite a bit. Psychic Fangs does only a little bit, while Water Spout does quite a lot, to be honest, considering it's from a Wobbuffet. Roleplay, so Magic Bounce Sableye too, so that might not, that's pretty bad for Biscuit's team. Thunder Shock, and then Superpower. Both are hoping for like some kind of like Stealth Rock or Spikes from the other team. Growth is going to be a bit helpful. Grass Pledge, Sableye 2 is nearly down. Acid Armor, this setting up won't help much because of the Whirlpool just completely kills Sableye 2. Biscuit starts with the advantage, and L uses Tailwind, so their team is now faster, and Reflects from Wobbuffet so they can handle physical moves like X's or more, which that would have killed had it not been for Reflect. Scratch does a bit. Power Split, which shares power. I'm not sure about that. That is, the Shell Smash will be really interesting. Let's see what, but it's struggling! Oh, it ran out of Metronome PP. And it's struggling. It struggled to death. Oh no. That could have gone much better had it not been for, the lack of PP. Solar Blade, but Sweet Kiss, it still hits it, even despite the confusion. And Wild Bolt Storm does quite a chunk. Switches out to Tinkaton. Dragon Dance from L. And uses Icy Wind, which doesn't do a whole lot, but it does slow Corviknight more. Incinerate, but it doesn't have a berry anymore, I believe. Withdraw, so this thing's defense stats are now higher. Gust doesn't do a whole lot, but... Gigaton Hammer, ironically, onto the Corviknight. Not onto Corviknight, onto the Tinkaton. Poison Jab does a lot to Good Boy. Psych Up, so that's actually really helpful for, and it kills himself, okay. That's wonderful. Just copy the stat stages and just, left to heal Corviknight. L does Mega Drain, and Ice Fang almost gets the KO, but the defense stats are too high, and L struggles to death. It's just, both have one pseudo legendary and one, and one other Pokemon. Now, Tinkaton and Didi don't really have a lot in common. I mean, I guess that's female. I guess they're both females. Parting Shot, which means that Metagross leads to mid, and Corviknight's attacking stats are non-existent. Mid uses Revelation Dance, which does quite a lot, to be honest. I have no clue what that does. I think that's like the signature move of Morikoro. Belly Drum. Okay, that could be bad. That could be bad for Biscuits. But it does sacrifice half its health. Weather Ball doesn't do anything. Biscuit really needs to destroy mid right now. Smoke Screen. Oh, that's gonna be very annoying. They switch out, not wanting to deal with that, I see. Heat Wave does quite a lot. Not even a physical move at that. Safeguard. Body Slam, that doesn't KO because it's resisted, but that does do quite a lot. Freeze Dry doesn't do enough. Bite lowers the PP of Metronome, which is really helpful. What does mid use now? Growl, lowering their attack. Ice Shard. Mid is almost down. But Ember. So now it's a 1v2 against Biscuit. Spit Up, that doesn't do anything. And Poltergeist, I think that gets the KO. That is the KO. And Bats wins round 2. So now it's 1-1. Alright, it's time for the final round between Bats versus Biscuit. It's 1-1 right now, and this decides everything. So we're looking at Bat's perspective again, so let's see how it goes. Both send out the same Pokemon. And that's a Flying Metagross, which doesn't seem as surprising as it should be. I feel like that's a thing Metagross can do. It does quite a bit, but Stomping Tantrum also does a bit. Shockwave does a little bit, and First Impression does nothing because it's the second turn, not the first turn. Energy Ball, Wobbuffet's getting low pretty quickly. Struggle Bug does a bit, and it would lower special attack, but it doesn't because of Clear Body on Metagross. Drill Run does a bit, but how will Metagross respond? Presence, that does, again, a bit. Stun Spore paralyzes Metagross, and then now Wobbuffet's faster and uses Water Pulse, and Weather Ball does a bit. Wobbuffet's getting pretty low, so what can it do? Thunder Punch, Paralyze, and Metagross is fully paralyzed. Dazzling Gleam doesn't do a whole lot, and Chloroblast does a lot more, but ends up killing it on the process. I have no clue what Chloroblast is, but I'm assuming it's one of those moves that, like, gets rid of 50% of your health every time you use it. Gyro Ball from Good Boy, but Spin Out, this clearly the superior steel move. Icicle Crash, though, that almost takes out L. And it uses Magnet Rise, so it's immune to ground moves, even though it's a flying type. That was a very smart play, clearly. Belly Drum fails, because it's at 2%. Mega Kick gets the KO on L. So now it's just the two weaker psychic types on Bats' side. Confusion, and then Heal Pulse, which fails because it's at full HP already. Horn Drill misses. Flail does a little bit, but that's more than a missed Horn Drill. Fell Stinger does quite a bit, but it doesn't get the KO, which is unfortunate. Mystical Power doesn't hit, and I have no clue what that move does. Overheat does a lot less than it feels like it should. Hydro Steam doesn't do anything to the now Water-type Corviknight. And now Corviknight has Prankster, so now it moves first all the time. Brine, you should really stop using water moves on the now water type. Just an idea. Play nice. Doesn't really. It ruins the attacking stats. Attack stats. Oh, but present heals this time. Okay, switch out to Good Boy, and Foul Play is resisted. Let's see what Good Boy does. Takes R Sphere pretty well, and Triple Axle should get the KO, and it does. So now it's just Indeedee. It's a 1v3 against. It's Bats. Bats has only one Pokemon left, while Biscuit still has 3. The ability is suppressed from the looks of it. Rock Blast does a bit, and Minimize, that can be annoying to deal with. Ingrain, so that's also pretty annoying to deal with, but Scale Shot doesn't do anything against the Fairy type, because Scale Shot is a dragon move, apparently. Glare paralyzes the doggy, but, it's still healing. Ceaseless Edge doesn't do a whole lot, but it does put spikes on the field. Surf misses because of the increased invasion. Sweet Sense lowers the evasion, but that probably won't come into play. Magical Leaf does quite a bit. Extreme Speed also does a bit. So, what's next? Mid uses Gigaton Hammer, and that's the end of Good Boy's run. Will Mid do the sweep? It seems unlikely, considering Tinkaton and Dragapult are really hard to deal with, especially with Iron Defense. Dark Pulse does a bit, but it's not a whole lot. Reflect, so physical moves won't do anything, but Fire Spin is not a physical move. Corviknight uses Endeavor, which doesn't do a whole lot. Just because, Corviknight isn't the red, at least not yet. Outrage, oh, that'll hurt. That's not good for Mid. Zing Zap does a bit. Another Outrage, so this is getting pretty close. This is getting a little closer, and that's the end. It's still, if Mid gets a very powerful, if Mid gets Poltergeist again, then it's over for Biscuit. So this could theoretically go anyway, but it is looking really well for Biscuit right now. Heavy Slam, and that's the end. Biscuit wins 2-1. Alright, now we're doing Orr versus Seahawk. Let's see how this goes. We're watching from Orr's perspective now. Orr leads with Smeargle, while Seahawk leads with Gallade. And Smeargle's already gone with a Seed Bomb, which isn't even stab, nor is it super effective. That's just how frail Smeargle is. Solar Blade from Duskmore and Sludge Wave does a bit. Solar Blade does a lot of damage to Gallade, and both of them eat their berries, which is probably very important. Thrash. This is probably pretty quickly. They're both down to 3 Pokemon, and it's only turn 5. Metal Claw does a bit. Thrash. This is probably where it slows down a bit. These 2 Pokemon are pretty defensive, to be honest. Thrash does a bit, and Idle is now confused and decides to switch out into a Butt Kicker. Nice. Struggle Bug does quite a bit, and Judgment, which again a bit. Poison Butt Kicker, so Roaring Moon is now poisoned, and now it has a timer on it for how long it can live, unless it uses rest. Coil helps out a bit. Iron Tail lowers defense, so that, and Eerie Impulse. So special moves probably won't do much. Skitter's Back is not a special move, it is also super effective, and there goes Yuxi. Drought from Hisuian Zoroark, which is interesting. I believe the Sunflora has Chlorophyll, so that's probably why that's being done. Butt Kicker is down. Now is Idle the Dusknoir, so let's see how this goes. Into Sunshine, the Sunflora, which takes Fury Swipe surprisingly well. Okay, it's not that well. It loses a quarter of its health. Toxic Spikes will hurt Starmie when that hits in, but Perish Song, so they both have to leave the battle soon. Sunshine uses X-Scissor, deciding to stay in for now. Both of them actually staying in for now. Leech Seed doesn't affect Grass type, so that's why that failed. Misty Terrain, which is interesting. Leech Life, and there goes Sunshine. Idle probably switches out soon, so it doesn't die. Drought happens again, so Fire do not. And Misty, the Starmie, comes back in, which... Wait, why isn't it affected by the Toxic Spikes? It probably has some ability that deals with that. I don't know, though. It's immune to... or maybe it's Misty Terrain. No, that's not how Misty Terrain works. Anyway, Confuse Ray... oh yeah, it is the Misty Terrain. Astonish doesn't do a whole lot. Astonish doesn't affect it. Anyway. Ancient Power, will it get the Omni Boost? No, it does not. Stone Edge does quite a bit. Hisuian Zoroark is down pretty low, though. Spark does a bit, and it's paralyzed now. Volt Switch, but nothing to switch out to. And now Dusknoir gets poisoned by the Toxic Spikes, but still does have the advantage. Crush Claw won't affect the Ghost normal type. It could go either way here. Wave Crash, oh, that'll do a lot of recoil, though. And roll out. Okay, it's practically over for Seahawk. Yep. And Orr wins round 1. Alright, now it's time for round 2 between Orr versus Seahawk. Will Orr completely sweep Seahawk? Or will Seahawk make it go to round 3? Both lead with the same Pokemon. Smeargle wasn't very helpful last time, literally died immediately. X-Scissor used by both of them, actually. Smeargle actually survives this time. I don't know I didn't survive the Seed Bomb earlier. Spore, so now Smeargle's asleep. So now it is a sitting dog monkey thing. I have no clue what Smeargle's supposed to be. But now it is dead, whatever that thing is. Gallade also has an extra speed boost. And Moonblast does a bit to the Dusknoir. While Dusknoir uses Hammer Arm, which lowers speed, so Gallade is definitely much faster than Idle. So Electric Ball might do a bit more now, although it's not super effective. Gallade loses quite a bit to Stomping Change, and Bite does quite like half its remaining health. Idle is down pretty bad. Safeguard does... Let's see what Safeguard does. Safeguard it doesn't really matter as of now. Their team is immune to status moves, which Idol won't put any on the team because Idol is now dead. Well, deader, but Throat Chop does a lot to Yuxi. Dragon Breath also does a fair chunk, but not nearly as much. And Dragon Rush, Yuxi dies in like 2 turns, despite it being like a legendary and really defensive. Spore doesn't affect the grass type. Yuri Cutter does a bit because it's a bug type move. Flash Cannon doesn't do a whole lot, but it's enough. It's 2v2, I realize. Scorching Sands burns Butt Kicker. It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good for Seahawk so far. Reflect type, Dragon, Dark type, Sunflora, which doesn't feel right in any world. Psychic Terrain, so priority moves won't do anything. Heat Wave, that... Oh, right, it's no longer a grass type anymore, it's a dragon type. Cross Chop, though, gets the kill. So, now it's just Zorwork versus... It's a 1v2. Will Zorwork manage to sweep? Nasty plot, but it's not like Butt Kicker. We'll get to stay in much longer. Aqua Ring, that'll help Zorwork, live longer. Stone Axe, that's a lot of damage. Stealth Rocks won't really help. Mystical Fire gets the KO. So now it's Starmie versus Zorwork. Who will get the win? Infestation does a bit and will do continuous damage. Flail doesn't affect it. It's not looking especially... It's actually looking much better for Seahawk, to be honest. Soft Boil, it is now looking better for Seahawk. Leaf Blade, okay. It's looking like Seahawk is going to put this into a round 3. Harden doesn't do a whole lot. Pell Dance. Wait, Pell Dance gets the KO! Oh my god, and Orr manages to get the win! So, it's 2-0 Orr. Alright, now it's time for Mid versus Sil. Both are pretty far down the standings, so they both could use a win here. Sil leads out with Ribbon, who uses Recover, which fails, and Clink uses Thunderbolt, which does a bit. And Ribbon leaves, so that's wonderful. Ribbon, you're so helpful. Another leave, but this time actually with damage. Poison Tail does a bit, and Double Hit also does a bit. So Love You Too uses Roar of Time. What? Power Swap, which doesn't really do much. Love Disc must recharge, and the Asian uses Tail Whip, which lowers defense. See, that makes more sense. Not Roar of Time. Cotton Spore doesn't do much. Heal Bell doesn't really do anything. Defog lowers evasion, so that might help a bit, but I don't expect to do much. Mountain Gale, I have no clue what that does. I'm assuming that's a Legends Arceus move. Brine does a bit to Drain Punch, which kills the agent and heals Love Disc bits. Love Disc doing surprisingly well for itself, despite it being, a Love Disc. False Swipe does a bit, and Screech lowers defense a lot. Entrainment, so now Sylveon has Swift Swim, so now Swift Swim is pretty useless. Okay, now the Clink has minus, 4/10 of its defense now, which could hurt it, could do nothing. Let's see, now it has lower special attack because of Leaf Storm. Drill Run misses, which is quite unfortunate, is that I'm pretty sure would have killed 2 Metal Gears. Rain Dance, which, it was faster anyway, so Swift Swim won't be helpful, except Electro Ball. Fairy Lock, no one can escape right now. Throat Chop, so any sound-based moves won't do anything. Thunder Wave is not a sound-based move, and it paralyzes 2 Metal Gears. Tea Time, both of them eat their Lepa Berries. I'm not sure how they're doing on PP, let's see. They both have they have a fair amount left. Gigaton Hammer does a lot. It is a really powerful move. Poison Jab gets the KO on Ribbon, and it's 4v2, and Sil is left with a Pansear and a Shuckle. To be fair, Pansear has been proven to be shockingly amazing, and it kills itself, of course it does, but it does get the KO on Clink. So now it's Shuckle versus a Thick Boy. So defense has its defense raised due to Dauntless Shield, because, why not? Future Sight doesn't do anything because it's coming from a Shuckle, and Dover doesn't do anything either. Cut. Okay, this is going to be a long battle, isn't it? Poison Gas. No, it's not going to be a long battle because it's poison now. So what we'll do now? Well, okay. Tail Whip lowers the defense and attract. So now defense. Thick Boy's attracted to defense, which is interesting, to say the least. Pedal Blizzard, and then Hydro Pump. Defense is getting pretty low. It's a 1v3. I don't think Sill's gonna win this battle. I don't think it's gonna be possible. Only 2 turns left to live unless some rest shenanigans happen. That's not rest. That's Glare. Only 1 more turn left for Shuckle unless some healing happens. Speaking of healing, Thick Boy uses Morning Sun and Reflect type doesn't do anything and defense dies. Mid wins really easily. It's time for round 2 of Sill versus Mid. Let's see how it's going. Will Mid make this 2-0, or will Sill force it to a game 3? Lovedis starts with Endeavor, which does quite a bit because Lovedis' HP stat is just like its other stats, except speed, which is incredibly poor. Bulk Up from Ribbon, and then Ice Hammer, which doesn't do a whole lot. Now Ribbon's a lot slower now, although it was pretty slow to begin. Torment, that could be bad for their team. So Sill has to sacrifice those stat raises to switch out. Sand Tomb does quite a bit, and now the agent is stuck in. Glaive Rush, I'm assuming that's what it's pronounced. So now I'll take double damage from this next hit, which isn't really a hit, it's a status move. Shell Sidearm gets the KO, so now it's 2 Metal Gears versus the Asian. Dragon Claw does not a whole lot. Haze, which resets stats, but there were no stat changes. Will-O-Wisp, so now 2 Metal Gears is burned, so not only will it die after some time, but its attack is halved. Hex on the burnt Clink, and Heal Pulse. Oh no, that was not good for Mid at all. It's a 4v2, but this time in favor of Sill. Pain Split, the Asian heals up to full. Dynamic Punch misses. It is only a 50% accurate move. Horn Drill! Forget about accuracy. The Asian is completely destroying. Soak, now it's a water type, plus bounce, it be bouncing. Let's see how much the bounce will do. Not a whole lot, but it does get the paralysis. Oh, it is not looking good for Mid at all. Mortal Spin, that could have poisoned had it not been for the paralysis. Knockoff does quite a lot and gets rid of the Lucky Berry, and they decide to switch. Sill decides to switch out. Interesting play. Facade it's technically doing double damage because of the paralysis. Thrash won't do a whole lot. Stored Power, that was with a defense boost, and that was still not a lot of damage. Metal Sound, and then Incinerate. So now the Leopard Berry from Shuckle is gone. Ice Hammer doesn't do a whole lot because, again, Shuckle. Rough Skin does as much damage. Poltergeist doesn't work on the Leopard Berry list. Oh, but Torment! This is probably the end for Mid, because Garchomp is now forced to struggle every other turn. Twister does a bit. It's not looking good for Garchomp at the moment. Night Days does a bit, and I think this is over. Yep, switch out. And oh wait, but the paralysis, that somehow came in handy, but Monkey gets the KO. And a complete sweep for Sill. It's time for round 3 between Mid versus Sill. Let's see who will come on top of this time. Both of them really do need the win again, because they're really far down the order. Mid, I believe, is in 8th, and Sill is in 9th. Fire Pledge does quite a bit to Lovedis, despite it being resistant, but Moonlight heals all that damage right back. Rising Voltage does a lot more, because that one's super effective, but doesn't get the KO. Bounce, let's see how much Bounce will do against the Ribbon. Not a whole lot, doesn't get the paralysis either. Acupressure, so that thing's attack is now much higher. Belly Drum fails, because of those reasons. Oh, now, Lovedis has a lot of attack, and Ribbon has a lot of defense. And Horn Drill misses, although that probably wouldn't have been the most helpful play anyway. Reversal, that's kind of pathetic considering it's, at 7% with 2 attack raises. U-Turn makes Lovedis leave the battle, and now it's 2 Metal Gears that's out. Flash Cannon does quite a bit, surprisingly. Bulldoze. Clink now has the speed advantage and uses Bitter Malice, which I still have no clue what that does. It lowers attack, apparently. Mean Look, so now Clink is stuck in battle and misses Sing. Clink cannot sing, apparently. Rapid Spin. So now Ribbon has the speed advantage again. Defense Curl on 2 Metal Gears. That's a bit Psych Up. So now it loses most of those stat changes. And now Ribbon's getting drowsy. Ribbon does not switch out, surprisingly, and will sleep this next turn. And yeah, Ribbon is asleep, so let's see how that'll affect things. Dive by Clink. Let's see how much the dive will do. Not a whole lot. And Ribbon's already awake. Blast Burn misses, but that would have done a ton to Metal Gear. Baton Pass onto Thick Boy, and it uses Lock On. Thick Boy, okay, but the paralysis, that does not help Thick Boy. The Snorlax. Moonblast, that does a fair bit. It was Stab, after all. Acceleruck also does a bit. Mach Punch, it is super effective, but the defense raise and the fact that it's, pretty chunky. Thick Boy handles it pretty well and takes down the Sylveon. Tackle from the Asian, who, nope. It doesn't look like the Asian has as much to give. Oh, Low Kick, though. That is super effective, but doesn't do a whole lot. What else will Asian do? Draining Kiss. And then Guillotine. Oh, boy. That did not work, sadly for mid. Now it's time for Monkey the Panseer, who really helped last game. Will they do a lot this game? It doesn't. I'm not sure. Blast Burn, that would have been another missed Blast Burn thing. It's not like it has that bad accuracy. It's like 90%, I think. Mudshot, lower speed, but like it was already slower. Bug Bite and Lepaberry now to Thick Boy's Lepaberry list, but does a bunch of damage to Monkey. Thick Boy uses Gravity, so now moves are generally more accurate. Defog, so yeah, now moves will most likely hit Monkey. If you miss a move, that'll be pretty sad. Mega Kick, normally pretty bad accuracy, but with Gravity and lowered evasion, it went pretty well. It's 4v2, this time again 2 for Sylveon. Starfall, aka Sil. So Pack, which doesn't do a whole lot to Thick Snorlax 6942 69420's Garchomp, because I felt like I had to say that. Fiery Dance does a bit and increases special attack, and Rough Skin, okay, it's not looking good for Sil so far. Play Rough does a bit again. Psybeam doesn't do a whole lot at all. Metal Burst, yeah, not a whole lot. Shuckle's just kind of sitting there, and now its attack stat, it doesn't have an attack. It never had an attack stat. What? Oh, and now it's dead. Both of them are dead. So now it's a Clink, Live Disc, and Snorlax versus a half health the Asian at half health. Bone Rush, I think that gets the KO. Nope, it does not. Takedown does quite a bit, and almost KOs itself. Clink almost KOs itself. Whirlpool does get the KO though, so it's a low health the Asian versus a low health of Disc, and a pretty high. And that's it's over. Mid just won. Mid wins 2-1. Next is Maisie versus Mercy, which, looking at the teams, seems a little bit one-sided, especially considering Mercy's in 5th and Maisie's in last. But maybe Maisie can pull off the upset. Leads off with Joe Mama the Como, and Mercy leads with Bouncy the Gyarados. Now, I have no idea what makes Gyarados so bouncy. Toxic on Joe Mama already, though. So, Joe Mama is already on quite a timer. Trick Room, so now I believe Como-O is faster, and Bouncy is now asleep. Joe Mama trying to do a lot more some things before it eventually passes. Faints due to Toxic. Horn Drill was definitely a thing, but it missed, so now it's not a thing. Darkest Lariat does quite a bit. Flower Trick, I think Joe Mama faints this turn. Yes, Joe Mama is dead, sadly. Mr. Kelly, the Delmise, takes a lot of damage from Flame Wheel and gets burned, so not looking good already. My Dreams, the Grimmsnarl, putting in quite a lot of work. Next is Hail Yeah, the Cast Form. Bulk Up. Oh my god, Omni complete. All stats aside from accuracy and evade. Oh, never mind. Attack is now lowered again. Cut on Hail Yeah. Switch Torment, so My Dreams might have to switch out, and does. String Shot lowers the the speed. And Hail Yeah is increasing its defense. And Fling, that was not a good play. Fling is probably like this one of the worst moves you can put here. Like at least Explosion does a lot of damage. Fling doesn't even do that much, and you lose your item, which could be really helpful. Magic Powder, Psychic type, Lunar Dance, and Hail Yeah decides to kill itself. That's wonderful. Delmise, however, Delmise does get like a lot, and it kills itself. Wonderful. I have no idea why everything is just dying on Maisie's side all of a sudden, but it's a 4v1. Cherry Cola the Ludicolo versus literally all of Mercy's team. So it's not looking good for Maisie, but it does seem like it. I mean, it's not over until it's over. Poison Gas does miss though. Pain Split. So Cherry Cola hurts. Oh my god, this is not looking good for Maisie. Superpower, and now its attack and defense are lowered for just a little bit of damage. And Shadow Claw gets a crit and ends the battle. Mercy wins the battle. Now it's time for round 2 between Maisie versus Mercy. Maybe Maisie can do something this time. Sends out Hail Yeah the cast form, while Grimmsnarl completely destroys it with Night Slash. Well, not completely. It still had 15%, but like completely destroyed. And both of them have lowered accuracy, so yeah, this will be fun. Missing everything. Shockwave gets the kill on Hail Yeah, and it's turn 4, and it's already 3-4. Super Fang doesn't affect the Ghost type, but that would have done a whole lot. Future Sight, that's a Psychic move, so it'd be smart for Mercy to stay in, and Mr. Kelly uses Hard Swap to lower its own accuracy. That was not very smart. Bulk Up does increase its attack and defense, and Future Sight does nothing, because it's a Dark type. Grassy Terrain will heal and increase the power of Grass moves, so Mr. Kelly's Grass moves should do quite a bit. Force Palm doesn't do anything. Light Screen, so both of them have a light screen, so special moves won't do a whole lot. Flower Trick does a bit. Shockwave, it doesn't, I feel like that should have done a lot. Defog, so evasion on Mr. Kelly's side is lowered. Toxic Spikes, so now, speaking of poison, Mr. Kelly is now poisoned, and now is probably going to die very soon. Another defog gets rid of the toxic spikes, also lowers and Volt Tackle, so Mr. Kelly is going to die even sooner. Lunar Blessing increases its HP, and all those stat changes go on to My Dream, so I have no clue what that's going to be like, considering. Oh, it seems like brings out Combo O, but then immediately switches to Cherry Cola. I have no clue what that was all about. Who the Swoobat goes in and bulldozes Cherry Cola. Double Edge. We actually never saw Who last time, I think. Tail Slap does a bit, not a whole lot, but enough. It does a bit. Poison Gas, and now Who is poisoned? Aurora Veil doesn't affect anything. There's no snow. Shadow Ball gets the KO on the Psychic type Bat Pokemon. Electric Terrain, so electric moves will do a lot more now, and Bind on Bouncy. Will Cherry Cola actually, get the sweep? Shadow Force. I think staying in would probably be the best idea. Bind makes everything a little weird, and okay, maybe not. That wasn't the best idea. Shadow Force did a lot more than I was expecting. Side Blade, it's not looking good for Maisie right now. Strength Sap, though, increases the attack of Bouncy because of Defiance. Brick Break does quite a bit. Calm Mind. So Joe Mama's calming itself down. And it dies to Mountain Gale. That's wonderful. And that is a 2-0 victory for Mercy. Finally, we have Jet versus Lapis. Now, they're both doing pretty well in the standings, although, okay, Lapis both lead with members of the Caterpie evolutionary line. Obviously, Jet has to be worried of Giga Chad there. It could do a lot. Retaliate doesn't do a whole lot. And okay, now Giga Chad's faster, so that could be concerning for Jet. Future Sight, let's see how much that'll do. Ice Spinner does a bit. Shell Sidearm, actually, okay, that actually does a lot. I was joking about the whole Metapod thing, but that's quite a bit. Future Sight surprisingly hasn't come yet. When will the Future Sight come? Woodhammer doesn't do a lot. Future Sight finally comes and almost kills Man, but Headlong Rush is apparently a ground move, because it does nothing. And this increased speed from Metapod no longer exists. Triple Dive does a bit, and Giga Chad uses Metal Sound, so now that Man's special defense is non-existent, although it's at 2%. Pollen Puff gets the KO, and now it's 4-3 Lapis. Dark Pulse doesn't do a whole lot to Chuck, and Smog doesn't do a lot because it missed. Wish, oh, that's actually really helpful for never mind. Healing Wish, and, oh, okay then. So it was looking really good for Lapis, but now everything just died. Disarming Voice does quite a bit. Well, Chuck uses Last Resort. The Wish, I assume the Wish doesn't come anytime soon because everything's at full health. Ceaseless Edge doesn't do a whole lot, but it does put on spikes, which could hurt Autono a bit. Shadow Sneak does a bit. Anyway, what will Flying Bitch Kit do next? Meteor Beam, which could do a bit. Flash Cannon. It is a rock move, so it will be resisted, and it missed, so it doesn't do anything. Cotton Guard, so attack physical moves probably won't do a whole lot. That was not a physical move, I'm assuming. It did a lot, and it KO'd. Rollout, oh, that could have been really powerful had it not missed. Synthesis, Flying Bitch Kit is doing quite a bit, but its Metronome PP is now lowered. Shell Smash, okay, this thing could be really dangerous now. Struggle Bug doesn't do a whole lot, but its special attack is lowered a bit. Iron Tail, that does quite a bit, considering it's resisted, and a physical move. Heat Wave, oh, but that burns, so physical moves probably won't do as much anymore. Reflect, physical moves won't do much to anyone anymore. So it uses Extra Sentry, and there goes Lucario. It's a 2v1 against Chair, although Flying Bitch Kit does seem to be doing a lot. Shelter, this thing is pretty bulky now, apparently. Still getting burnt, which could hurt. Fire Spin, and that's the end of Chair. And Lapis wins this round. Alright, now what could potentially be the final match of the week. Round 2 between Jet versus Lapis. Both lead with the same Pokemon. Man uses Close Combat, which doesn't do a whole lot to Giga Chad, who resists it all. Court Change doesn't do anything, because there's no entry hazards. Horn Drill gets a KO on Man. I could have sworn that was a ground move, but maybe I'm stupid. Fell Stinger does a bit. Volt Swish, and Giga Chad is leaving. Okay. Audiobook, the Autono is in here. Oh, now it's gone. Nope, it's Flying Bitch Kit now. Moonlight, so your brother heals a bit. Sheer Cold misses. That could have been really interesting to hit, though. Guard Split. Guard is split. Very insightful commentary, I know. Giga Drain doesn't do a whole lot. None of them are doing a whole lot of damage to each other. Soak, it's a water type now, so that... Oh, and Jet didn't like that, so he switches to Chair. And now Chair is a speedy boy and uses Electro Ball. Slam misses. And Chair uses Water Pulse. So Chair would probably want to stay in for as long as possible. It's low. It's bad. It's really only bad. Truly, problem is its speed, which is low, and now it's not low. It's the same as Togekiss. Things are looking pretty good for Jet right now. Now Spirit Shackle. It's not going to leave anytime soon anyway. So Ice Beam. Okay, I mean special attack isn't great either. Cotton Spore, which doesn't affect Chair. I'm pretty sure it's because grass type stuff. Lumina Crash lowers special defense quite a bit. Signature move of, I believe, the Cleopatra Ostrich, Espathra. Fake Out doesn't do anything because it's not the first turn. And Drain Punch, it heals a bit, and Iron Barbs hurts a bit. Wood Hammer gets the KO on Flying Bitch Kit. So now it's 3v3, Chair versus Hydrant. What will Hydrant do? Aura Sphere gets the KO on Chair. Okay, so now it's your brother versus Hydrant. Super Fang. Oh, it's looking much better for Lapis now. It was being okay, and now this thing originally had Levitate. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and now it can be hit by ground moves. Although I think your brother should probably be using fairy moves, or bug moves work too. Grassy terrain, probably not the best move. I think Hydrogen should be more focused on, like, trying to, end your brother, KO it. Spirit Shackle should do the trick. And now it's 3v1, Lapis has 3, and it's Chuck versus the world, basically. Fury Attack hits 5 times, so that's big, and it kills itself. Of course it does, and that's quite an anticlimactic end to this week. Lapis wins 2-0. I'll see you next time for week 4 of this Metronome battle. Until then, don't forget to keep on spinning.